Remember that. Hey, everybody, thank you so much. It is Wednesday, May 20th, 8 o'clock, which means it is time once again for another action-packed, fun-filled edition of Call the Cops. My name is Officer Jamie Keneally. Thank you for tuning in. Really big show tonight, and I mean that because we've got a great guest. And we get some video of, I don't know, whatever, feel free to play it, but Peter DeMarco. The name sounds familiar. It should be, especially if you read the Boston Globe, because Peter, for the past 2-3 years, has been writing the article, Who Taught You to Drive?
Yes.
And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a big fan. I usually learn something, which is probably pretty bad since I am a police officer. But here's the deal. It's pet peeves, crazy questions, you name it. Peter's articles have addressed a lot of great stuff. Tonight we're going to talk about some of that great stuff, in particular, the ride of Paul Revere. Think about it. Could he do it today? One of the many cool things we'll be discussing tonight. Really excited about having Pete DeMarco from the Boston Globe in studio. We're going to get to Pete in approximately 2-3 minutes, but I want to get to some other stuff. And a sad story, of course. A couple weeks ago, Soheil Turner, I know you're familiar with it, the 15-year-old teenager who was gunned down and killed, broad daylight, waiting for a bus. This week, well, some better news. Suspect wanted in connection with that murder is in custody. Zaneyu Shakwezi, 18, of Roxbury, has been arrested and charged with murder. And let me just say this. We say it all the time to those community members who are nice enough and good enough to make calls to Crime Stoppers to help us solve this murder. We appreciate that and keep up the good work. Pedestrian safety, always a big issue, probably more so with the warm weather approaching. Of course, when it gets warm out there, people love to walk around the city. But the big question is this: how do we protect our pedestrians? Well, I caught up to Teddy Hendricks recently. Teddy rides the motorcycle, sees a lot of stuff. He says pedestrians, the pedestrians need to pay more attention. And according to Teddy, sometimes they take too many chances. Take a listen to Teddy Hendricks.
Just jump in front of a vehicle, and it's important that they pay attention to what they're doing, because sometimes drivers are on the phone or they're sitting there addressing their information, trying to look at a GPS or a map. Sometimes they drop something in their lap and they just look down for a second, but it only takes a second to cause an accident like that, and the pedestrian's going to lose.
Yeah, folks, it's true. You got to pay attention, please, when you're crossing those streets. We tell you all the time, we love to highlight good police work. Great police work in this particular case. Great arrest on Area D4. Captain Billy Evans, addressed the media. You know the story, the bank robbery that took place at the Sovereign Bank on Mass Avenue. You might remember the robber used a taxi cab as a getaway car. Okay, probably not the best choice of getaway cars. But the good news, detail officers, you've got to love those detail officers in the area, spotted the cab, located the suspect, and they made the arrest. So, of course, we like to highlight stuff like that. Good news to some bad news. As you all know, this past year has not been a good one in terms of in law enforcement, or for the law enforcement family, in terms of some of the tragedies we've seen. As most of you know, 4 officers gunned down, killed in the line of duty in Oakland. 3 more were killed in Pittsburgh. To each of those funerals, the Boston Police Department sent delegations. It's an important thing to do for members of the law enforcement family. Kelly McCormick, Deputy McCormick, says it's the right thing to do.
It's family, whether it be Oakland or Pittsburgh PD. Law enforcement is family, and if it's 3,000 miles away or 800 miles away, they're still family. We feel their pain. We know the pain of losing people, and we thought it was very important for us to get out there and really show our support for them. And the reception we received out both in Oakland and Pittsburgh were just fantastic, both from the law enforcement and from the community themselves, who would literally come up and thank us, beep the horn, wave at us, thank Boston. And letters I've received back from the people to the commissioner and to the mayor stating, you know, it's amazing you went out and did this, but to us it is family, so we think it is the right thing to do.
Great stuff there. Lastly, and I don't like the story either, but Boston Police Mounted Unit, I know you've probably read the papers, heard the stories, the oldest, how about this, the oldest mounted unit in the country, 150 years old, closing or soon to be closing its stable doors due to the fiscal and budgetary issues, constraints. And, you know, you ask any officer, they're going to tell you, nobody, and I mean nobody, is happy about the impending decision to close the stables. Horses do some great things, but unfortunately these tough times have led to some tough decisions. So recently we caught up to Sergeant Walsh, and if you're looking to adopt the horse, Take a listen to Sergeant Walsh.
At this point, we have a lot of names of people who are interested. We have a lot of different departments, police departments who are interested. All I could say is that before we, as a police department, give any horse away, we're going to have to visit and make sure that, you know, the stable and the people who want to adopt them are a good fit for the horse.
So I personally couldn't adopt a horse because I live in a small house next to an apartment in West Roxbury. All right, tonight's guest, two-shot. Where is he? There he is, Peter DeMarco. Now, here's the thing, brother. Now, if your picture does not accompany your column.
It does not. It does not.
So,
Thankfully.
Right, well, we'll let the viewers judge. I'm sure we'll be taking phone numbers for you shortly. But you've been writing for the Globe for a number of years, and who taught you to drive?
Yes.
Talked about it early on. Love the column. Great stuff.
Glad you like it.
And I do. And it's just, and you do your homework, and it shows. I know you're calling around to various officers, police officers around the state.
Absolutely.
And it's good stuff. But let me just ask right off the top, where did this idea for who taught you to drive come from?
Sure. I've been at the Globe for, about 7 years now, mainly as a features writer, some hard news, and an editor who originally I think was living in Ohio, moved here, just couldn't get over how lousy we were at driving, how many people break the rules.
Yeah.
And she was sort of grousing out loud.
Wow, I'm surprised the editor said that. I'm really shocked to hear that.
Yeah, the only one, the only person.
You don't hear that often, but okay, continue.
No. It takes an outsider for someone to really, get us to see what's really going on. So she said, boy, wouldn't it be great if we just had something in the paper that told people what the rules of driving.
Right.
And so one thing led to another. I got asked, hey, Pete, maybe you could write, a month or two about this. Try it out. Write about some of why we're such aggressive drivers here. Why we disobey the rules.
Do some of the things we do. Why are we so bad?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just found that the topic was so rich, and I kept writing it, and week after week after week, and it's been 3 years, and I haven't run out of material. Yeah. I've written about 145 columns.
Wow.
And a lot of them are rules of the road stuff.
Yeah.
If the traffic lights are busted, what do you do?
Right.
What does the law say?
Yep.
Actually, the law says you actually have to slow down. You don't actually have to stop, which I didn't know. I figured, you'd have to come to a direct stop.
Right.
Well, you don't.
No, you can
Other things, I've written about everything from, in the winter, winter driving.
Yep.
If you're going to a slide, how do you react? To some fun stuff too.
Yeah.
I did a story a few months ago on art cars. What can you stick on your car?
Okay.
Be it AstroTurf,
Yeah.
be it a big Charlie Brown Pez dispenser right in the middle of your hood. Right in the hood. Right in the hood.
On the hood.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. His head bobs up and down.
The hood ornaments.
And it was amazing how much is legal that you can stick on your car. So
Well, what do you said the material. Now, you've been doing it for 3 years, and I think, is this an anniversary of sorts?
it's this very week you hit
Wow.
it. Yeah, good timing
Great
here.
planning. Yeah, I got to thank my
excellent.
producer, even though we're going to have one, but I'll thank the producer later. So 3 years, where do you get, once you started to write the first couple, and I know at the end it says if you have any pet peeves or any
Yes,
questions,
yes.
email you, which I think we can put up the email if you guys get a second.
Yeah.
DeMarco@globe.com.
Yes.
But once it started to catch on, does a lot of your stuff come from questions you get asked from people?
I'd say a good amount. I mean, people have really responded to this. Everyone likes to talk about driving or about, well, I can't believe this guy did this, pull this maneuver, or is it legal to back out of a driveway, on a crowded street? Is that legal or not?
Is it legal to flash